Hi Math, I'm Andy. Let's take a look at how to find the slope of a line when you're just given a graph. So I'm presented here with just a line on a coordinate plane, and I want to identify the slope or the rate of change of this line. Well, one thing right off the bat, I notice that as I move left to right across this graph, my line is actually headed down. So I know that this is going to be a negative slope. So when I check my answer, that's what I'm looking for, a negative slope. Now just to remind us, we know that slope is the rate of change. So we know that a slope, we call it the rate of change. Now we have a formula for it. We say that it's the rate of change in the y values over the change in the x values. We use the triangle to represent the word change. Now to find the change, what we can do is we can subtract the two y values and we can subtract the two x values. Now we can do this a couple of different ways. If we identify some actual points on the line, we can use those coordinates as my x1 and x2 and y1 and y2s, and we can just perform the subtraction. But let's take a look at this line just as a line, and let's identify 2 points on the line. To identify 2 points, in this case, one of the ways is to look for where the line crosses actual good integer values, meaning whole numbers. I notice the y-intercept, it really does seem like it crosses right there perfectly at 1, 2, 3, 4 on the y-axis. So my coordinate would be 0, 4. Now I can find another really good point. Like here, the x-intercept looks like a point. Here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's crossing the points 6, 0. These are called intercepts, and intercepts are places where your line crosses the x and y axis. Now we also can identify other points on the line, like this point right here. This has an x value of 3 and a y value of 2, so 3, 2. And there are other points that this line crosses, like right here. This is -1, -2, -3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, -3, 6. So these are all points that are on this line, and all of these can be used in my slope formula. But take a look at this. I know that my slope is going to be the change in y over the change in x. And so I'm asking, how do I move from one point on the line to the next point? So one way that we can think about this, I'm going to use the two intercepts that we originally found just as our examples. The change in y is really how far down are we going to have to move to get to that next point. So if I'm up here at this point and I want to get down to this point, I need to go straight down this many jumps. And it turns out I need to go down 1, 2, 3, 4 jumps. Now down is a negative direction, so I'm going to put -4 there. To get to this point here, from here I have to go over to the right. And so I'm going to go over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have to go over to the right 6. And a right movement is a positive movement. So when I draw what I'll call a staircase, in a sense, of point to point, I notice I go down 4 and over 6. And because my slope is the change in y over the change in x, I can write the slope as those values. My slope is the change in y down 4 over the change in x. And I like how we say that change in y over the change in x, and we literally write it as a fraction with the change in y over x. Now this is our answer to the question. The answer is -4, 6. But when we do math, we always want to present our solution in the most simplified form possible. I explain it kind of like in an English class. When you turn in your final paper, you want to make sure that all your grammar is correct, all your spelling is correct, all your punctuation is put in the right spots. And so this is kind of like finalizing your draft. And by simplifying, it's kind of like making sure all your T's are crossed, all your I's are dotted, all your exclamation points and periods and question marks are put in, all your sentences start with a capital letter. So reducing your answers to simplest form is just like always capitalizing the first letter of your sentence. Think about it that way. So I know that -4 and +6 have a common factor of 2. So I'm going to divide the top and bottom by 2, and I'm going to get -2 over +3. So my final answer is that my slope is -2/3.